sakes. I don't know where Karen would make up something like that about me. You aren't fooling anyone, Anatoly. Wake up. Sorry, you're making strange noises in your sleep.
Well, what's going on, Gregor? Did the lightning wake you up?
It woke me up. Tried to fall back asleep, but it's so loud. Oh, let's just get back to sleep and talk about this in the morning. Everyone nods in agreement and gets back to bed. Except for you. You can't fall back asleep. You still have goosebumps from the nightmare. Karen's snoring is louder than a sawmill. You find it very loud and very distracting. You don't sleep a wink. Everyone is now up and awake in the cabin. You hear the front door open and quickly slam shut. Anatoly sounds petrified. I looked at the door, and we're completely surrounded by floodwaters. Looks like sailors take warning was more appropriate for today. Maybe it'll clear up tomorrow. You can't steal Big Guy's optimism, Karen. Why the hell not? That's all he has going for him. He's also good at chopping up wood, though. Knock it off, you two. Mariah, do you think it'll clear up tomorrow?
I give it a 27% chance of it clearing up tomorrow.
Based on what?
I was bored stiff. So I read a book on local precipitation levels for the last 20 years in the living room.
Sounds like you're stealing Anatoly's thunder. Anatoly, you're a book nerd, right? Why didn't you read it? Couldn't make it past the cover. Is that right? Yes.
That bookshelf has some great books on artisan crafting and natural sciences. Why let them sit there gathering dust?
How did you arrive at 27% chance of it clearing up tomorrow?
It's easy. Take the time of year, multiply it by a factor of...
Mariah begins to explain meteorology to you. She isn't dumbing any of this down.
It's similar to... So the first thing you need to understand...
Minutes of explanation feel like hours. You look over at Anatoly. He's listening intently to Mariah. So intently, he hasn't blinked yet. You can see his eyes drying up. A tear rolls down one of his cheeks. This is brutal to watch. Mariah finally wraps up her lecture. She ends with a bow. Nobody claps. Tough crowd. Mariah, that was awe-inspiring. You lost me a few minutes in, but it's okay. I didn't understand a word of it. Yeah. Anatoly turns to you. Anyway, there's no telling how long this will last. We can't leave the cabin until these floodwaters stop. I know our food situation is a little tight, but I know you'll make the right decisions. I believe in you. Me too. It looks like we have enough leftover berries for some more bread and raspberry jam. I'll pass on the jam. Just give me more crusty bread. Everyone laughs. Except for you. With everyone stranded in the cabin, you need to keep everyone fed and happy. You sneak out to the kitchen where everyone's still talking. What are we making today? You get out some crusty bread and get to work making some more jam. With the kitchen to yourself, you decide to check in on the Chompettes. Chompettes! Yay!
Hello!
Hello!
Don't worry, as leader of the Chompettes, I'll make sure none of the humans know about us. Onion! That big guy will try eating me like an apple, so definitely don't tell him about us.
Are your plans going awry? Got another cornbread classic for you. Did you hear about the bread maker's bakery burning down? No? Her business is now toast!
That one's been done to death. Do you know how raspberry and milk are introduced?
You tell her no.
Raspberry milkshake.
You let out an audible groan. Did cornbread teach you that one?
No. Wasted an entire day thinking about that terrible pun. Haha, it was well worth the time and effort, Raspberry. Maybe you'll win the annual Chompette comedy competition this year. Raspberry! Of course. Onion. Not while I'm here.
I won't choke on stage this year. Isn't that every year, Bread?
We still talk about that closing line, Bread. You're going to do great this year. Anyways, don't even think of eating us if you're hungry. Chompets stick together through thick and thin. Raspberry! Rain or shine.
Feast and famine.
Potato, I swear to God, repeat the line or we're locking you up again.
Life or death.
That's right. Chompets! Out!
The Chompets somehow manage to close the drawer on themselves. You bring the crusty bread and jam into the living room. Karen interrupts as you bring the food. Took you long enough. Karen looks at the 2 slices of bread left in the mason jar of raspberry jam. There's mold on these last 2 slices of bread. Karen is right. What the hell is the matter with you? You grip the knife tightly in your hand. You think this is enough? For 5 of us? Well, wait. We can't throw this bread away. It's all we have left. Greg is right. Anatoly, will mold spores give us food poisoning? I'm, no scientist. Sorry.
Let's pick off as much mold as we can. We can't leave with the floodwaters, so this will have to last us another day.
Everyone grimly nods, ripping apart their piece like a pack of wolves. Gregor seems to unhitch his jaw and eat it in one bite. He looks like a duck eating bread.
Thanks again. Bread and jam isn't much of a meal, but it's more than we had when we left the Ukraine.
Plenty of rainwater outside, so at least we won't die of dehydration. But until this storm is over, nobody should leave the cabin. Should clear up if we just give it a chance. Anatoly, where are you getting that information from? One of the books on the bookshelf about the climate here. You're illiterate, so that definitely is a lie. I've seen him reading. Little guy's been studying. I'm serious. He pretends to read those books because he wants us to think that he's smart, while you tell he's just staring at the page, faking it. What do you think? Anatoly can read. You must be going blind then. Yeah. Thanks. I don't know where Karen would make up something like that about me. You aren't fooling anyone, Anatoly. Karen has stormed off. Thanks for backing me up. Yay!
Good to have someone so positive around.
Anatoly looks relieved. You think he'll remember that. I guess let's call it a day. Yeah.
Sure.
Everyone shuffles off to their sleeping areas. Oh, I'm going to have another nightmare, aren't I? 10 minutes later. Hey. Karen likes to find somebody's weakness and use it against us when she's frustrated. Just wanted to thank you for backing me up earlier. You're very sweet to do that. Anatoly looks at you with a look of admiration. See you tomorrow. Anatoly looks like he's blushing as he walks away. You're definitely sure Anatoly will remember that. Okay. You get ready for bed and put a blanket on. You go to bed very hungry. You don't dream the entire night, but you sleep through everyone waking up.
And that's how fast a deer could run if startled.
Whoa! Incredible! Impressive. I wish we had a deer here. With the food getting lower, let's just skip today's meal. No. It's only for one day. Various cultures and religions have practiced fasting throughout history. That doesn't make us feel any better, Anatoly. What options do we have? Our food wasn't rationed properly. Anatoly leaves, mumbling to himself. So passive-aggressive of him. Everyone goes to a separate area. Karen in the bedroom, Gregor in the living room, Mariah in the kitchen, and Anatoly in the bathroom. Who do you want to speak to? I have hearts with everyone but Karen, so let's speak to Karen and see if we get a heart. Okay, she looks kind of sus there with the knife. Looks like she's just slicing away at a block of wood. Hey, can I let you in on a secret? I've actually enjoyed your cooking so far. The others expect me to be rude and mean, so I have to keep that reputation up, right? Can't have anyone thinking I'm soft. You're not sure where this is coming from. Promise me you'll give me some cooking lessons soon. Okay. She's not ready yet, but you nod politely. Thank you. Yay! There we go. You leave Karen by herself. Everyone looks pretty down this evening.
Wish the rain would just stop.
You're all doing great. We must be at the end of this nightmare. I'm so hungry.
Me too.
You are too. You wish everyone a good night and get ready for bed. You go to bed with a growling stomach. You have a strange dream. A boy is yelling at you in the kitchen. You keep telling him to lie down on the tray, but he keeps shaking his head, calling you names. So you do it. You lie down on the tray and make your body as flat as a board. You show him how it's done. His anger turns to courage, and he pushes you into the oven. As the stench of burning hair fills your lungs, you see him sneering back at you. You wake in a cold sweat. Why does those things make me jump every time? Everyone seems to be sleeping in later than normal. Their stomachs must have kept them awake all night. The rain is still pouring outside. You can barely make out the trees from the windows. You hear a stirring of blankets, arms, and legs. Mariah looks petrified.
I couldn't sleep.
Anatoly has bags under his eyes. The storm is too loud. Karen looks out of it. The cabin was creaking so much last night. It sounded alive. Gregor looks a little gaunt. I got a good look out the window.
And?
Couldn't see anything due to the rain. Great observation, Gregor. I was so hungry last night. I kept pacing around my bed. Karen turns to you. When is this going to end? I checked outside the door again. Floodwaters keep rising. Unfortunately, we're going to need to stay put unless one of us wants to drown in rainwater. As soon as the river lets up, we'll be able to scavenge for supplies. How close is the nearest town? I don't know.
Didn't you have a map on you?
I think I dropped it while we were running after Gregor. I'm sure it'll show up eventually. Mariah and Anatoly go white as a sheet. How are we going to find our way back now? We'll have to ride out the storm. Mariah looks at you.
We're down to our last slice of bread. I don't know how much longer we can put off eating.
The group stares at you. It will clear up in no time. Maybe you're right. The group looks worried. They all gravitate to an area. You can tell Greg is putting on fake optimism and Mariah is having trouble. Which one do you want to speak with today? Let's speak with Mariah.
Brr, it's cold as hell over here. I'm surprised Gregor isn't freezing to death at night. How does he do it?
You explain to Mariah how the size of a person and fat content determine how warm they are naturally.
Yeah, wish I was as big as Gregor. But to be honest, I don't need to be that tall to make a difference in the world. Do you know what he wanted to do for a career?
Mariah does her best Gregor impersonation.
Split firewood and gaze at the stars. How boring is that?
Depends on the person, but pretty boring.
You're so funny. Thanks for coming in and chatting with me.
Mariah blushes a little.
You make it easier to pass the time. Thank you.
Ooh, 2 hearts. You thank her and leave the bedroom. You call everyone together. They all look grim. You could cut the tension in the room with a knife. Everyone is staring at you. They're expecting that last piece of bread for dinner. You bring it out. Everyone cannot take their eyes off it. You instruct everyone to take a pinch, and slowly all five of you tear it apart like a wishbone. Everyone studies their piece of bread carefully, wondering how long it will last. Karen is the first to eat hers. She chews each bite 100 times before swallowing. Anatoly chews it cautiously, opening his mouth once he finishes each bite. Mariah nibbles on it silently, eyes wide, moving from person to person. And Gregor just pops it in his mouth like a cherry. It was gone in an instant. The group thanks you awkwardly. It's not much, but you've run out of options. You wish everyone good night and get ready for bed. You go to bed starving. Good morning.
Morning.
Let me check if the rain has stopped. It's still flooding. What are we going to do? Humans can live about 2 or 3 weeks without food. Water isn't a concern. Rainfall should end in a day or 2, right?
Actually, precipitation can occur more than 215 days a year here.
But do you really think it'll rain that long? Anatoly, it's been days already. What makes you think it'll stop soon? Relax, everyone. Let's see how long we can ride this out. Fingers crossed it's done by tomorrow. Panic is slowly creeping in. Everyone's looking scared, but you need to survive. Karen and Gregor begin to discuss next options. Do you want to speak with Mariah in the kitchen? Or Anatoly in the living room? They can stand about everything you've done wrong and you've doomed everyone. We spoke with Mariah last, so let's talk with Anatoly. Anatoly's still paging through the book. Hey, you really should have been more careful with our emergency supplies. What were you thinking? I'm sorry, Anatoly. Apology accepted. Who could have predicted this much rain? You're sweet as a pound cake. Thank you. You'll have to teach me that vegetable stew recipe when all of this is over. He's reading that book upside down. This book is a great distraction. Very well written. Oh, you get the hint and leave Anatoly to himself. I don't think any of us can take this much longer. Gregor's voice starts to crack. I don't want to ask this, but it's time. One of us needs to go outside and search for food. Everyone is silent.
I'll go.
Mariah?
I used to swim all the time near my house, so I probably have the best chance of swimming through the floodwaters.
No. Let me go instead. You won't get very far if anything happens to your glasses, Anatoly. You're blind as a mole rat, remember? That's true, but... Little guy, let me go. Gregor, Sounds good to me.
Karen!
His arms are definitely the longest. He's probably the best at climbing trees out of all of us.
No, that wouldn't be right. Gregor, let me go instead.
I get that none of these options are good ones, but we need to find food or help. Gregor grabs a branch from the woodpile. He cuts it into different measurements. Since we can't come to a consensus, let's draw for it. We'll each pick one from my hand. And the shortest will go outside for search for food. You're not worried about drawing. You saw Gregor cut the branch lengths, so you can tell which is the biggest one of the bunch. You pick it. You watch the others intently. Will it be Gregor? Anatoly? Karen? Will it be
Looks like I've got the shortest.
Mariah? Mariah?
It's okay. I watched Anatoly forage earlier, so I'll know what to look out for.
Just swim until you find higher ground, then scout the area. Maybe you'll find a fish out there. Everyone looks heartbroken.
Karen, Anatoly, Gregor, I'll keep us alive. I promise.
She promised. Everyone watches as Mariah leaves the cabin. The silence is deafening.
Goodbye.
The door shuts behind her. You can faintly hear her yell about how cold the water is, and then silence. Mariah has left the cabin. I'm sure we'll see her again. The rest of the group nods. Everyone stays up, waiting and waiting. The sun has completely set. One by one, each person quietly shuffles off to bed. You get ready for bed and could easily pass out. You have a strange dream. The two women in front of you could be twins. One of them you recognize, the other is a guest. You ask the guest to sit on a shovel, and then you try pushing it into the oven. Her legs are so strong, you can't get her into the oven. You curse at her repeatedly. Like this, you hiss. You stretch out your legs until your toes are almost sticking in the coals. You feel 4 hands on your shoulders and both of them push you in. The familiar sound of smoke and burning hair causes you to throw up on the embers. You can't let it end like this. You rip the metal door off the oven, tearing through the wood logs off the cabin. Screaming, you chase the two through the woods. Your burns chill with the wind. The guests look behind her and their eyes widen when she sees you. She's terrified. Your fury rips trees out by their roots, soil from the ground, rocks from their pits. You've never been this angry in your entire life. Their stamina can't last forever. You're gaining on them. As you trample through a field of wheat, the guest throws a piece of cloth behind her. You catch the glint of it in the sun. Golden. As if by magic, the earth splits in front of you, creating the chasm of fire below. You fall into the pit, screaming as your eyes begin to sizzle from the heat. Hellfire fills your lungs. You're unable to scream anymore. You wake in a cold sweat.
Dumb things on street. So many dumb things on street. Dumb things.